Hi guys, we're coming to you today live from Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica. I want to tell you we have some really good news for you today about transformation and life and things that are going on down here. Recently, Facebook changed how it handles and distributes things like this. So please do me a favor. If there's something that resonates with you here, please press the share button because we want to get this message out, and there's so many people who need so much healing, and it's just very easy for you to press share. So please press share if you can, or if you see or hear something that resonates with you. Hi from Nebraska. Hi, Sydney. I want to say one thing, so remember to share. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Rythmia. Before that, I want you to know there's a number. It's 866-936-9446. Anytime throughout this broadcast, please call that number if you have a question and you want to speak to somebody. Hi, Lindsay. They're there for you all the time, so remember that. Second thing is this. We have a book called Shit the Moon Said, and it explains to you everything that goes on down at Rythmia and why this place is here. So please check that out if you can. And remember to press share when you can. So who is Rythmia and what is this place and what it's about? Rythmia is a spiritual center, a life advancement center that's focused on a particular type of healing with the assistance of plant medicine. Hi, Sudka. And this healing is about merging of the soul. So this whole thing is about merging of the soul. And why do I get to talk about that? Well, I get to talk about it because I think I was the world's biggest asshole. I might be the second or third biggest asshole now, but at one time, I think I ruled the big asshole game. And I was a super, super unhappy guy. I was a very mad guy, and I had a terrible life. I tried to commit suicide on 2 different occasions, and something happened to me that changed my life, and it changed it overnight. And we've been able to replicate that thing that happened to me for so many other people here, for so many other people, about 4,000 other people. And we're changing their lives and changing lives every week. There's about 60 people here this week. Graham Hancock is coming this week, and there's about 90 people. And every week it's the same thing. More miracles, more people. And this particular type of miracle that we're talking about, once you get it, it's yours, and it's yours for the rest of your life. Once you get this miracle, it is yours, and not even death takes it away. And so what is this thing about? What is our belief? Well, our core belief is this, is that something that happens to you between when you're conceived and 5 years old causes you to split, and which means basically to leave your soul but stay within your aura, and then there's a process that in certain cultures they call it soul reclamation. We call it soul merging. There's a process for putting that back together, and once it's back together, all the bullshit in your life tends to go away, and this thing stays with you forever. Once you have this, it is yours forever. Beautiful shit, yeah? So why does it work? Why does the thing work? I have no idea. I'm telling you, I have no idea. I know that it does, and this is what's different between us. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Gail. This is what's different between us here and other centers. When you check out of here, you're given an electronic survey, and the survey asked if the food was good and if you got treated nice and if you liked the rooms. And the last question is, did you receive this miracle? And to date, about 956 out of every 1,000 people say yes. And here's the better part. 6 months later, you get another survey. 97.55% of those people say that this was the week that changed their life. This was the week that changed their life. So something is cooking down here. And it's the combination of plant medicine, transformational breath work, incredible food, a beautiful spa, a beautiful health club, the cleanse, and tons of workshops and classes, all conspire to make this thing happen. And once it happens, your life has changed. And I want to tell you what, it's the hardest friggin' week of work you'll ever do in your life, I believe, unless you're into some type of slave labor. This is a really hard week. The greatest part of this from my standpoint, I was a reasonably successful business guy, and I've had all kinds of stuff, too much of everything. Too much cars, too much women, too much sex, too much drinking, too much cocaine, too much. Nothing is as fulfilling as seeing someone merge back with themselves. And when you see this thing happen, there's nothing like it. And this is nuts. Every week we have people here from 19 years old to upper 70s, upper 80s, in some cases low 90s, and everybody is having the same experience. And they're from all walks of life. We have like movie stars, hockey players, golfers, waitresses, chefs, regular people that are retirees, teachers. And when they get here, they all realize their commonality. And the commonality is that they're soul called to have it put back in them. People think they called because they're having a trouble with their girlfriend, but they're soul called to put them back in them. And today I have a beauty, a real beauty. Her name is Carrie. She's from a place that I'm from, which is maybe twice in my life have I been here and found out at the end of the thing that we're from the same place. Carrie, come here. Come on and say hi. Perfect. How are you doing, Carrie?
Excellent. How are you?
Excellent. Fantastic.
Good.
And where are you from, Carrie?
I'm originally from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
And where are your parents from, Carrie?
East Stroudsburg.
East Stroudsburg.
Yes.
Now, the chances of that, because that's where I raised my children, your parents probably live a mile or so from me.
Probably,
because it's only 2 or 3 miles long.
Out in the boonies.
That is so crazy. And Carrie, I was first lucky enough to see Carrie about 6 months. When was the first time you were here? April. So that's 6, 7 months ago. And since then, she's been here 3 times.
Third week, yeah.
The third week. And so and she has a professional background. We're not going to talk about that, but I want to talk about some things. When you first got here, what drove you to come to Rythmia?
I was going through a separation, and so I really was looking to find myself. I was actually looking for a yoga retreat, and you guys kept popping up. Great marketing. And I didn't really know much about plant medicine, but I watched the videos and I did research, and I thought, wow, this could be the answer for me.
And so, did you see some of the videos and stuff online?
Yeah, absolutely. I watched them all. Every Saturday I would watch this, religiously to hear what others' experiences were. 'Cause I'm like, what is plant medicine? What is going to happen to me?
And were you afraid, like before that first time you came, were you afraid?
No, I wasn't afraid.
No.
I was excited. And I came with a friend. And so I kind of had her there with me, and she was very supportive, and it was fantastic.
But she no longer, you're living in
Arizona.
In Scottsdale. And was your friend from Scottsdale?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so you see this thing online. It's a yoga retreat, which it is, because there's yoga. There's
totally yoga. Yeah.
And you thought, oh, well, I'll give it a try. And so you came, and you were heartbroken at the time.
Yeah, very
like
much
distraught,
so.
right?
Yes, yeah.
And so you come and you see these, let's just go through the place. Were you happy with what the place looked like?
Beautiful. It was a great resort. The yoga was great. The food was out of this world. I'd come back just for the food.
Really?
Yes,
I like
food
that.
was great.
That's good. Go get him, Meg. And so you come to this class on Monday, and you see this craziness that we're talking about, this split and stuff. And did you? Some people look at that and they go, I don't know if I believe that or something. But in you, what did you think when you saw that stuff?
I wasn't sure, but I was totally open. I said, whatever's going to happen to me, let it happen. Yeah.
And so with what we do, there's 3 things, right? There's 3 things. There's see who you become, merge me back with my soul, and heal my heart. Because that's what the medicine is trying to do to you anyway. So we try to vibrate the same way. So can I answer this? Because it's interesting to me when you're telling me. So the first time, and now here's the thing: about 956 out of 1,000 people get all three the first time they're here. It's very few people that don't, and she happened to be one. Mm-hmm. So this is why this interview is worth so much to me. So tell us, like, the first week you were sick too.
Yes.
To your tummy.
Yes.
So tell us, you do the medicine, and what does the medicine say?
The first night of the medicine was
of the first week.
Yeah.
The first night of the first week.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That Monday night was pretty intense. I was throwing up most of the time. I was seeing crazy visions. I saw neon tribal signs all over the place, and I just thought, I think I'm having like a bad LSD trip. That's what it felt like. And I was throwing up, and I could barely stay conscious. It was scary. But it taught me a lot that first
You
night.
could barely stay conscious, so you were fighting to stay awake.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like I was going to pass out, or I was going to lose my sanity.
I
felt a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, that's a very common,
Yeah.
That's such a common thing, and surrendering to that is where the gold is, yeah?
Yes.
So that's your first night. Can you do this? Because I'm going to get to this week.
Yeah.
So your first week, so out of these three things, I can't get my fingers right, out of show me who I become, merge me back with my soul, and heal my heart. What happened out of that first week? What did you see?
It wasn't until I got home that I could really process it all. It took about 10 days before I figured out, wow, I really got something. And I learned I lived in fear for so long. There was so much fear and distrust. And I call that first week my intro week to ayahuasca, because I had to learn how to trust the medicine. It was difficult for me to do.
So did you see how that tracks with your life?
Totally.
That in your life there's fear and distrust?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Was there fear and distrust around men? Is that what you were going through at the time?
Yes. Completely.
That can be a good thing. No, anyway, I'm kidding you. So that's the first week. Now you decide to come back. How many months later do you decide to come back?
So I came back in August specifically for Women's Week.
From April, for Majesty.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful week.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that.
That week was a lot of healing, healing with my mother, healing and learning trust. And I felt safe because it was all women. I got to meet Brandy. It was just a totally different experience than the first week. So I built up a lot more trust, and I ended up getting my heart healed by Mitra.
How beautiful.
At the end of that week.
How beautiful. So I just want to say one thing here for a second, because you brought something up. Women can feel super safe here. I want to tell you, we have a rule, right? That nobody is allowed to date guests. They can't. So a lot of these places in Peru and in Colombia and all over have big problems around medicine people and women. We've gone out of our way, and 4,000 guests, it's never happened. Everybody here is safe. So as a woman, you can come here and be safe. We have a new rule that 3 months after you're gone, if there's still a flame there, they can date you, but nobody's used it yet. So the thing is this, is that know that when you're here, you're absolutely safe and in trust. But many women are afraid. They do the medicine, they have all these emotions, and they're wide open, and they're afraid. And here you don't have to be afraid. So did you feel safe because of that?
Totally safe, yes.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
And did the doctors and the nurses and all that help you to feel safe too?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so now that's week 2. So in week 2, in week 1, she saw who she's become. Week 2, she gets her heart healed. And now, that was in August. We're in, what are we in
November.
Here? November, sorry. And so she decides to come back. And when I see her, I go, I know that lady. Because then I thought, I know her because she's been here 3 times, right? So we go through the same thing.
Yeah.
And now night 1 comes. Are you afraid at all?
Oh, there was still a little bit of fear, because every night is a little different, so you don't know what the medicine has in store for you. But Anke and Mary Lou create such a safe space,
Uh-huh.
the shamans, and
Uh-huh.
I knew them from, the last time I was here, and I felt very comfortable with them. And that night, I went through a lot of visions. It was very, very full of visions and kind of trying to process what all that meant. And at the end of the night, I felt like I couldn't cry. Like I felt something stuck or blocked in me.
Uh-huh.
And I went out to the fire and I was sitting there, and Anke came and sat next to me. And she didn't say anything. There were no words that came out of her
Uh-huh.
mouth. But I heard in her little German accent in my mind, "Release to the fire," is what she said. And I mean, in my mind anyway, she said it.
Uh-huh.
And I just started crying, and I released the sadness into the fire. It was beautiful.
Uh-huh.
So I did a little purging that night.
Okay, and now, but let's talk about this. So she threw up the first week.
Mm-hmm.
She did medicine 8 more times and did not throw up.
No.
So don't believe that you're going to throw up all the time, okay?
No.
So then the second night, what happens? Tell me.
Second night was where it all went down.
Okay.
That
Uh-huh.
was my favorite night of any of the nights I've been here.
Wow.
Brad's night. And typically, the first time I was here, Brad's night was full of a lot of love, and there was a lot of trust. It was very calm and peaceful, and so I knew going into that night that I would probably have a lot of calmness. And I did at first. It was calm, and then I ended up getting pretty deep into medicine, and I had a vision of a past life, which is the first time that's happened.
So they don't, yeah, so when you say you got pretty deep in the medicine, so you have Pinta, and then maybe some colors, and
Yeah.
then you start, going deep?
Deep, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was like in a different world.
And tell us what happens in that world.
She showed me a vision of myself as a Native American medicine woman.
Uh-huh.
And this woman, all she wanted to do was help people and heal people, but she ended up being raped and, beaten by men and ostracized by her community. So I felt all this sadness and this loneliness from her, and it kind of like welled up in me. And it was almost too much to take, and I knew I had to go and ask for help.
Uh-huh.
And as I said, I'm not the kind of person who goes and asks for help ever.
Uh-huh.
So she kind of like willed me to get up. And my first instinct was to go to Sarah, because she's a woman and I feel comfortable with Sarah. And it was like, no.
So the medicine's calling her to stand up
Yeah.
and go to this woman who's a saint who works here, a real saint.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But unfortunately, my feet took me straight to Brad.
Uh-huh.
I had no choice in the matter. And I was in tears, and I was so vulnerable. And to do that and go to a man and be that vulnerable was really hard. And I sat down, and words came out of my mouth that I don't even think I really knew. I don't think I said them, to be honest. But when I spoke, I just said, take this sadness from me. It's not mine.
So you said to the shaman Brad,
Yeah.
you said, and it wasn't like you were doing this consciously.
No.
You said, take this sadness from me. It's not mine.
Yeah.
This is key shit. This is great. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Brad is wonderful. He's so calm, and he's like, and he starts to do this healing on me, and it created a lot of energy, and I was bawling. I couldn't stop crying, and I felt overwhelming. I almost felt like I was going to pass out because of this energy just flowing around me. And then finally he stopped, and he just looked at me, and he said, good work. God bless you. And I went back to my bed.
And he had been blessing you.
Yes, the whole time, probably for a good 5 to 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
He did work on me, and I stumbled back to my mat, still in tears, but the tears weren't sadness anymore. It was like tears of gratitude and joy, and that's when I felt the connectedness.
Uh-huh.
That ultimate like joy and connectedness to everything. It was beautiful.
How beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And she's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman, right? But you should see the difference in her face. I saw you on the medicine on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, who is this angel? Because she's not, I didn't know you from, you know what I mean, from earlier in the day.
Yeah.
You had just transformed. And so now what's so interesting, what most people do in a week, Carrie did in 3 weeks. But got it. So the thing is, you now are merged.
Yeah,
That was
completely.
your merger.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Completely.
And how does it feel?
It feels. It's really hard to say. Like there's no words to describe
I
it.
know.
It's
Yeah.
joy. It's pure love and joy.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the greatest thing is because you must have been here through 3 closing Saturdays, hearing everybody talk about their merger
Yeah.
and the stuff, and you must have been thinking, what the fuck am I doing wrong? How come it's not? Sometimes it's human to do.
Yeah.
And now you got it.
I got
and
it.
it's yours, and nobody can take it from you. I'm so excited for you. I think she's going to work here. I'm super, super excited for you, because it's beautiful to get it, and especially get it after putting in that much work.
It was a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So when people are talking about this and they're talking amongst themselves, and they think it's like a show from Bewitched where you twinkle your nose and you're better, it ain't that. And tell them it's a
very hard road, but if you're committed, you'll get it. And the medicine knew how many times I was going to be here, so she started in slowly, and she knew that I would get it. And I had faith, I had trust in her, so that's why I kept coming.
Well, to me, it's one of the greatest stories. Usually I get people on here, and they just read about it on last week and said, oh, I was going to go to Talladega to a car race, and instead I came here, and boom, 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 they get all things. It's beautiful to have you, and to know like that it wasn't easy, and it was harder, and these changes that are harder, they last forever. And this work, when you're thinking about doing it, and you're thinking about, well, it's kind of like going to Club Med. It's not. This is not a week that is easy. This work of facing yourself, like when you were talking about seeing who you become. Sometimes seeing that you're afraid in life is so hard to say, because the very nature of your fear is that you're vulnerable. So saying it is fucking hard, and then believing it, and then seeing where it's actually guided your life, and it's driven you to things that were perceived by you as safe, which turned out to be very dangerous shit. And it's crazy. So this understanding and this healing that happens is a forever change. Yeah. So I'm super, super happy for everybody that. And do you find it funny, like every time that you're here and you see a Monday and you see all these people, and they're all coming in at different levels. Like some people are searchers, some people are spiritual folks, some people are guys that work at Walmart, and they just happen to show up, right?
True.
And you must look at and think of it and think, oh my God, these people are not going to get it. This is what you must think. And then every week, is it not a miracle on Saturday when they all get it?
Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone gets something from it. And we're all like family afterwards. That's one of the best feelings, the community aspect. You come in on a Sunday and you're like, who are these people? And then you leave and you're best friends.
And isn't that the truth, though? That people come in, and I swear I see them look at each other, and they're judging, oh, look at her. Oh, look at, she thinks she's a saint. This one, that. They all think that. And by the time they go, there's such love and such magic amongst the people. It's just amazing. Can I ask something, because people have a lot of the same questions. At any point were you really afraid?
Yes.
And tell us about that afraidness.
That was my first time here. That first night, she kind of gave it to me, and I guess I needed to get rid of all of the fear that I'd been carrying with me my entire life. So it's a lot of fear, 38 years worth of fear, and I purged it all out that night. And it took a while to process what it all meant, but I got it. I understood.
And were you looking at something that was fearful to you?
No, it was more of losing my mind.
So this is a common thing. So this is, and I'm so glad that you're bringing this up. One thing that happens to me all the time is the fear of losing my mind. That, oh my God, I'm on the brink of losing my mind. And that's the point where you have to trust. Right then, right when the medicine, and so people have two choices. They can try to control it, and then they win something out of it, because they say, well, listen, I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and I came out. That's cool.
Yeah.
But the real art of this is to surrender to
Totally.
that fear.
Yes.
And the thing is, nobody goes crazy.
No,
right?
you don't go crazy.
You don't go
Yeah.
crazy. If you feel like you're gonna, like I'm this close to losing my shit, this is how it always feels.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And it's just such beauty and such growth. Hey, Sandra Pascal, I love her. It's such beauty and such growth and such healing. And the healing that happens is crazy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when you see people that have illnesses and things and snap out of it, so much Lyme's disease. It's
The friend who I came here with the first week has MS.
uh-huh.
And so when I was here struggling, she was getting healed. She had surgery by aliens.
She had surgery by aliens,
And then-
which is very common here.
And then went home and 6 months later had an MRI, and the lesions that were in her brain, some of them had gone away.
Is that crazy?
So there was like an MRI to prove that
How
what she had
beautiful.
worked.
Huh.
It was amazing.
And she was getting brain surgery, right?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Well, listen, you guys, I want to tell you, and you're beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
and I mean, you're ready for the world right now.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. And I want to tell you guys, please, if you're out there and you have questions, I'm going to tell you something. You know, when you see something like this and you think, oh my God, these folks are crazy and all these things, there's truth in that. There is some craziness here. But the pain that you're feeling, the pain doesn't have to turn into torture. You can be set free. There's redemption. There's really a different way of being in the world. And that way is for everybody to have. And we have a way of getting that to you and getting it to you in a very repeatable kind of fashion, a predictable way. So we want you to have this, and we're doing what we can do to help with the world. We're really trying, and we have great success. You have to come here. You have to see what it's like to be free, especially people like my friend Carrie that have been afraid, whether you're a female and afraid of men or a man and afraid of women. That fear and the saying goodbye to that fear opens you up to a completely different kind of relationship. And I don't just mean sexual and lovers. I mean, it opens you up to relationship with the other sex in total. You'll look at your father different, or your uncle or your cousin or the guy who lives next door or the people on your softball team. Like, it really opens you up to experiencing people. And that's the greatest thing about this. We love you guys. Please do me a favor. If you think this helped anybody, if you know anybody like Carrie, if you know anybody like me that needs some help, please press share. If you share this thing, it will help us so much. And then, if you have a question yourself, we have operators that are standing by, and they're not operators, they're actually people who have been here and have experienced this thing. Call one of them. It's 1-866-936-9446. Call one of them and please book in here. Hi Maku, hi guys, hi Marina. There's so many people coming that I want to make sure that if you're listening to us and you're following us, that you get in. This is the truth. When we opened in 2016, I think the first year we had 200 people. Last year, I think we had 1,400. This year, we have over 3,000. It's all happening. It's all doubling. So please come here, get in, and get your dose of this thing. It's incredible. I thank you guys. I love you. God keep you. God hold you. And we will see you again next week. God bless you. Thank you, honey. Thank you so much.